Take my hand.
There was nobody else that had the opportunity to articulate the specific needs that were at stake.
The people that turned the hoses on families and so on, beating people with billy clubs. I mean, they didn't realize that they were working against their own cause, that they were being so abusive, so appalling that they were promoting civil rights.
Through the storm, through the night.
This fall, we'll see the release and distribution of a one-of-a-kind educational documentary. A Higher Law will take its high school student audience through some of the deepest and richest material from a momentous era in American history. This insightful documentary traces the origins of the civil rights movement in the 50s and 60s in a unique way. A Higher Law will provide insights that take its audience on a fascinating exploration of the very soul of the civil rights struggle. The documentary focuses on the profound impact that Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. and his followers had on human rights. They were an army of dedicated activists that defeated segregation by loving rather than hating their enemies. They lived to the principles of a higher law. Armed only with their beliefs, these brave men and women waged peace with the segregationists. They taught their followers to turn the other cheek in the face of water cannons and attack dogs, and won hearts and minds through peaceful protest marches. The documentary follows the evolution of the civil rights movement from the early influence of black churches to that terrible day in Memphis when Dr. King made the ultimate sacrifice. We will guide the audience through the story, and the narrative will be illustrated with archival footage, graphics, and photographs. Also featuring interviews with such luminaries as Ambassador Andrew Young. A Higher Law contrasts the human rights issues of that historic era with the modern-day scourge of human trafficking. Here are some excerpts.
He was the most influential man for good for the United States of the 20th century. I can't think of any one individual that had more of an impact on the change of society than Martin Luther King Jr.
It was almost as though we felt that he knew something was going to happen, and a shot rang out. I looked up, and he was not there anymore.
As a part of his drum major sermon, Dr. King talked about what he wanted people to say on the day of his funeral. This is what he said. I'd like somebody to mention that day that Martin Luther King Jr. tried to give his life serving others. I'd like for somebody to say that day that Martin Luther King Jr. tried to love somebody. I want you to be able to say that day that I did try to feed the hungry, that I did try in my life to clothe those who were naked, that I did try in my life to visit those who were in prison. And I want you to say that I tried to love and serve humanity. Yes, if you want to say that I was a drum major, say that I was a drum major for justice, for peace, and for righteousness. And all of the other shallow things will not matter. I won't have the fine and luxurious things of life to leave behind. I just want to leave a committed life behind.
One of the last people Dr. King spoke to before his death was saxophonist Ben F. Branch, who was scheduled to perform that night at an event Dr. King was to attend. He said to the musician, "Ben, make sure you play 'Take My Hand, Precious Lord' in the meeting tonight, and play it real pretty."